Welcome back to the subject Object Oriented Analysis and Design. Today's topics are Document Architecture, Reasons to Document Architecture, Identify Views, 4+1 Architecture View Model, Architectural Decision Records, the C4 models. Coming to the document architecture, so this is an important part of the software development. So coming to the architecture must be documented in a good amount of details and should be presented in an accessible form for many different stakeholders or for the users. A simple search shows lots of material. However, much of it tends to be pretty complex in the nature. So this kind of document architecture is helpful whenever there is a communication between the developer and the stakeholder. As the stakeholder used to explain the overall working of the software, in case of that, this model is helpful in explanation to the stakeholders or to the end users. Much like there is not one definition around what exactly this architecture development is. So let us understand one by one how it is going to be implemented. So reasons to document architecture. Whiteboard designs are not persistent. So that is not enough like if you draw on a whiteboard. And coming to the teams grow in size, explaining the principles of the architecture to the wide and wider audience gets difficult. So as we know that if the team is growing, like the team in the sense it may be the stakeholders, end users who are coming to purchase the application or the software, or in case of the team members who are going to develop. So as the team is going to be growing, every time the present people cannot explain each and everything to the new person who is going to be joining into the batch to understand the stage of the development. So these can be very simple in understanding to make them to understand. So the various decisions that drive the design could be forgotten and documenting them could be help us get some rations. So this is nothing but whenever whatever the discussions are done, the upgrading that information or to enhance that software, every time if they go for documenting, it is very helpful to remember the concept where they had stopped and where they have to continue the concept of developing the software. So stakeholders have different concerns, like whenever the end user will comes, they have a lot of doubts to clarify. So all this can be easily understood by making them to explain with the help of a document architecture. Coming to the identify views. So whenever they are going to develop the documentation for an architecture, they need to view in various ways. Like if you see an architecture, the architecture can be viewed from the modules view, like how many number of modules are there, how the internal working of each and every component in the modules. When you talk about the logical view, how different modules work together to provide the business functionalities. So logically, how it is going to be satisfied or how it is going to be implemented in various types of tools. So coming to the physical view, how the components are deployed. So whatever the software is developed, in which component it is going to be deployed, how it is going to be supporting for various type of platforms. So all this can be concerned with the help of a physical view. The next one is a behavior view, the dynamic aspects of the system behavior and the variance. Like whenever the changes, dynamically the development, the grasp development is there in the software. All these can be viewed. Based on that view, they have to go for making the documentation. Coming to the 4+1 architectural view. So this is a one way of view by seeing the architecture and they can understand so that they can develop the documentation. So this is a blueprint of an architecture, and this way of visualizing software application architecture is based on 5 views or perspectives of an application. So this is a kind of 4+1 view. So if you see the previous one, these are the various kinds of views before going to develop the document for an overall architecture. One thing is module view, logical view, physical view, behavior view. Whereas the other technique is 4+1 architecture, that is a 5 views or 5 perspectives. Coming to the this 4+1 architecture, here we can see the logical or structural view, The second one is an implementation or developer view. The third one is a development or physical view. The fourth one is a process or behavior view. And the fifth one is a use case or scenario views. So all these are the 4+1 views, where based on these views it is very simple and easy to perform the document for an architecture. So this particular logical and structure view will address towards the what is the perspective of using these logical views, what are the stages are there, where exactly they are focusing, what is the concern of that, what are the artifacts of that particular logical or structural view. In the same way, when you talk about the implementation or the developer view, so there it is going to discuss about what are the perspectives, like what are the files are there, what are the documentations are there. Next one is the stages, focus on concerns and artifacts. So if you see the each and every view can go into address the perspective, stage, concerns, focus and artifacts. So by getting these informations, it is easy to perform a documentation. So these are the same information, you can easily understand what exactly each and every view can define. Coming to the next one, architecture decision record. So how exactly they are going to perform the records here? Actually not really about documenting the current or future stages of an application architecture, but instead of reasons and that led to it. Like this is a main thing, best way in performing the records. Like once they had to go through with the 4+1 view, or they are going to view the previous techniques. So by making on that, they are going to take a decision and they can perform the records of that architecture. Coming to the 4+4 C4 model. So this C4 model is one of the best way of viewing that. Like it is going to zoom and view each and every level or each and every module of the architecture. So here we'll have the levels, like the first level is a system context diagram, second one is a container diagram, third one is a component diagram, fourth one is a code diagram. So all these are the diagrams which are helpful to zoom out the each and every component of an architecture diagram. So let us understand an example with a case study which is in banking. So if you see here, this is a personal banking customer, and here we can see the internal banking system, there is an email system, here is a mainframe banking system. So if you see the each and every module, all these modules are zoomed out and you can easily understand what is the working of the internal module, so that it is very simple and easy to perform a document for individual modules. So that is the main purpose of 4+C4 module. So the same thing here we can see the container diagram. So here the container diagram is nothing but zoom into our application. The blue squares in the diagram above which maps to the dash squares in the diagram below. So here you can see and understand that whatever the blue color is there, which is going to be mapped with this. These are personal details of the customer which is going to map with the internal banking details, so that they can clearly zoom out and understand the individual customer information. So this level will be seeing the containers of an application, where the container is any independent technical piece of an application. So this can be helpful, like viewing each and every level of the module, and you can make a documentation of that views. Coming to the next one, code. So it's aimed to describing the code structure inside the component. For this level, we'll be generally using the class diagram or the artifacts. As we know that code can be defined with the structural diagrams. All the structural diagrams are helpful, like a package diagram, class diagram. So all these are the diagrams, the models which are helpful to define the code, and that can be easy to document. So coming to this each and every model in this C4 model, all these diagrams are helpful to zoom the each and every module, and they can helpful in developing the document. So with this topic, we can easily understand what is a document architecture, what is the purpose of going for documenting the architecture, how to identify or how to view that identification, so like which is going to be document or which one has to be record that information. So there are some examples of that. One is the 4+1 architecture view model, the other one is a C4 model. So based on these models, it is simple and easy to zoom out the overall architecture, making into the modules, and then they are going for documenting. And by making this document architecture, it is very easy to make the other person understand what is the working of an software or what is the stage of the development of a software. Hope you understood this concept. Thank you.